Now for the objective goal, it actually means goal. So the objectives of bodhicitta are to achieve enlightenment and to benefit sentient beings, as in the characteristics or essence or the nature of that, explain that. So here I'm now making very clear, you see, what this means, want to achieve enlightenment, what this means, benefit of sentient beings here, see. The Bodhisattva Bhumi says, is that right? Yeah. The objective of bodhicitta are to achieve enlightenment and to benefit sentient beings. The Bodhisattva Bhumi says, therefore, bodhicitta has its objectives, enlightenment and the sentient beings, the two, see. The objective of enlightenment, what does it mean you want to achieve enlightenment? What that means, see, means searching for the primordial wisdom of the great vehicle. Means great vehicles, Mahayana. That wisdom is Buddha's wisdom. No. So you want to achieve the primordial wisdom, means unfabricated mind. Your Buddha nature, which Buddha has revealed that. So as Buddha revealed, so Buddha has that. Say, we don't have it. It doesn't mean we don't have originally. We do have, but we have failed to reveal it, or we have failed to recognize it. So looking at the Buddha, as Buddha has this, I want to see that. See? Great vehicle. The section on the cultivation of bodhicitta in the Ornament of Mahayana Sutra says, likewise, its objective is the search for primordial wisdom. So I want to achieve, because that's the place free from all the suffering and cause of suffering. It's called the ultimate cessation of suffering and its cause. The objective of the sentient beings, now what it means sentient beings? So it does not mean one sentient being. It doesn't mean one person or two person or 300. But rather it means all sentient beings who pervade wherever there is space. Means all this which we went through in the practice of loving kindness of compassion, you know. Wherever there's space, there's a sentient beings. That means space is infinite. Likewise, sentient beings are countless. Wherever the sentient beings are pervaded by karma and afflictive emotions, let's see, wherever the sentient beings are in the world, in the samsara, they are dominated by the afflictive emotions, rooted by the ignorance. Wherever they have these afflictive emotions, they have a karma, negative karma or karma, positive karma. You know, it's called defiled karma. And they are pervaded with suffering. So wherever they have this kind of karma, the suffering is just there. So see that. Therefore, I cultivate the mind to dispel all sentient beings' sufferings, all these sufferings. This is now reinforcing our practice of compassion. The aspiration prayer for proper conduct sutra says, limitless is the extent of space. When space is limitless. Limitless is the number of the sentient beings. And limitless are the karma and delusions of beings. Such are the limits of my aspiration. So, look at this, how great thought this is. See, in Bodhicitta Avatar I mentioned, if you helped one person, people admire. Such one helped this person, like who is drowning into the river and leaped from the river, and people say he or she is hero. Now, if this is not hero, then what? Unimaginable altruistic thought. Now 5 cause. Now here, what is the cause to cultivate the mind now? The cause for cultivation of bodhicitta are given in the Dharma Sutra, Chikindo. That mind is cultivated means the bodhicitta cultivated through 4 causes. There are 4 different causes. This means this not necessarily all causes come together. Each cause may cause to cultivate bodhicitta. See, seeing the beneficial effects of bodhicitta. Look at what a bodhicitta is marvelous. A source of hope, peace, harmony. Admire that bodhicitta, and that causes you to cultivate bodhicitta. Developing the devotion for the thus gone one, the Buddha who practiced bodhicitta and perfected bodhicitta and achieved the Buddhahood. Look at that, what Buddha means. Effortlessly benefiting sentient beings, and admire that and cultivate bodhicitta. Seeing the suffering of all sentient beings, now look at the suffering of the sentient beings. Unending. One after another. Today we solve one problem, and next day another problem. Today roof is corrected, next day there's the water tap is broken. So forth. The heating system. All, one after another, you see. Like that in the wall, in the samsara. Just open your heart. Look all over the world. Everyone is dominated by the suffering. And from that, what's the solution now? Solutions to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment. For that, the cause is bodhicitta. So I must cultivate bodhicitta. See? So this. And inspiration of spiritual master. There's some spiritual master who are very skillful. So you must practice. You must cultivate bodhicitta. So because of that spiritual master's inspiration, you develop bodhicitta. So there are 4 different causes. See? Also, the Bodhisattva Bhumi states 4 causes. They are really different causes, but also the 4 causes. What are the 4 causes? See, the perfect noble family is the first cause for cultivation of bodhicitta. First one is belong to the noble family, means Mahayana family. As described in the first chapter, what means Mahayana family. So when one is belong to that family, has the concrete cause to cultivate bodhicitta. To fully attain the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and a spiritual master is the second cause for cultivation of bodhicitta. Some individual, maybe God has opportunity to see Buddha, or some God to see the Bodhisattvas, some see spiritual masters through their inspiration. Is the second cause to cultivate bodhicitta. Cultivating compassion for all sentient beings is the third cause for cultivation of bodhicitta. When you have strong compassion, altruistic compassion, everyone, then you inspire to cultivate bodhicitta. So see, this shows compassion is the cause to cultivate bodhicitta. But the compassion itself is not necessarily a bodhicitta. Having fearlessness toward the suffering of hardship that are long, varied, harsh, and without interruption is the fourth cause for cultivation of bodhicitta. This means, you see, sometimes you overwhelm the suffering of sentient beings. How I can help? Not possible. Or there are so many sentient beings, infinite. How I can help all those things? Or their suffering is so immense, out of my ability, and I give up. No? So in such case, we cannot cultivate bodhicitta. But no fear. So no matter what happens, no matter how long, no matter how harsh, no matter how difficult, it's called indefatigable courage. Never getting tired. Go through. Practice. So this is the one cause, see? The fourth cause for cultivation of bodhicitta. So now please understand this, you see, how the causes. So how we have to pay attention. You see, look at these causes and pay attention. Each of these way to cultivate bodhicitta. It's universal, you see. This is not a culture. This is the way how to solve the problem. Step by step. No? So if we want to free from samsara, if we want to achieve enlightenment, we have to look at this carefully and give us clear picture. It's not just emotion. It's not just being nice, good, smiling, you know, feeding your emotions, you know. This way, how to see things precisely, clearly. So the Ornament of Mayana Sutra says, in that say, bodhicitta which arises from a proper ceremony and ultimate bodhicitta, so there are two, have two different causes, you see. Means the relative bodhicitta and absolute bodhicitta. Due to the power of, so now the relative bodhicitta, due to the power of friends, there's one cause to cultivate bodhicitta. Power of cause, power of root, virtue, power of Dhamma hearing, or through virtuous tendencies. Bodhicitta appears as a stable or unstable. When it arises from a proper ceremony conducted by others, other spiritual masters. So this is the quotation. Now he's explaining what this means. So the cultivation of bodhicitta, which is conducted by others, refers to the mind that's cultivated through others' revelation, and that is obtained through a proper ceremony with a spiritual master, and conduct all the necessary ceremony. Through that, within that ceremony, you get complete how to cultivate bodhicitta and embrace the bodhicitta within. See, that's called relative bodhicitta. So within that, see, by the power of friends, now here explaining the quotation. What means friends? So means to cultivate the mind, means cultivate bodhicitta through the advice of spiritual master. So because spiritual master is your friend. By the power of cause, that means developed through the power of the Mayana family. You have a cause, root cause of Mayana family. Through that you cultivate bodhicitta. By the power of root of virtue means to develop, strengthening its family. Developing the virtue stronger and stronger. That makes your bodhicitta stronger. By the power of hearing means that when one hears the different teachings, one also develops bodhicitta. When you receive bodhicitta Mayana teachings, then you are inspired. This I need. I must practice. By the power of virtuous tendency means that in this life, one can develop bodhicitta by persistently hearing, holding, practicing, and so forth. So, tendency means you are habituating. First you hear it, you analyze it, you investigate it. Then, say, after that, the meaning you hold in your heart. And then, after holding that, you exercise, practice, that's called. So forth. So, bodhicitta is unstable when developed through the power of friends. Yes. Through the inspiration of the spiritual master, you develop bodhicitta. But then after some time, you change your mind. I used to have some strong interest in this practice. Now I'm not so interested. So you derail from the path. So it's unstable. It happens a lot of us, you see. So it's very important to understand this basic, you see. All the other arise from the cause and so forth are stable. Others they are no through the root. First you have imprint of bodhicitta, or say you have a minor family. You have a kind of your virtues are rooted, so those are strong, stable. So these are the descriptions of the relative bodhicitta, how one cultivates. Now the cause of the birth of ultimate bodhicitta to give birth bodhicitta, to embrace bodhicitta is said in this text. When the perfectly enlightened one is pleased, means you please the enlightened one, like a Buddha. When the accumulation of merits and perfect wisdom is well gathered, the accumulation of merit and wisdom are well gathered. You have full support of merit and wisdom. When there is non-conceptual thought and you have such a strong, powerful meditation, equipoise, meditative state, perfect wisdom in the Dharma, then you perfect wisdom means the wisdom which captures the nature of the emptiness. That is the held to be the ultimate bodhicitta. So this is how to bring ultimate bodhicitta within you, within inside. In other words, ultimate bodhicitta is achieved by reading scripture, practicing realizations. Reading scripture means study. You read those Mahayana sutras as much as you can. And then after you understood, you practice. After practicing, you realize. That realization is called ultimate bodhicitta. Now the sixth, from whom you receive it. Now, from whom you accept the bodhicitta. From what objects or spiritual teacher so does one obtain bodhicitta? Is a question. There are two systems, one with a spiritual master and one without spiritual master. If there is no danger to one's life or precepts, we should go to meet a spiritual master, even though it may be far. As I mentioned, like Atisha made a journey 13 months from India to Indonesia to receive bodhicitta. Siskal go, no? So far, in order to take the Bodhisattva's vow. See, the qualification of the masters are skilled in conducting the vow ceremonies, meaning Bodhisattva's vow ceremony, who has a skill on that, having received the vow himself or herself, first must have received the vow before. That is not enough. Now kept it without decline. Then took that and practiced, kept that, even risk of life. Not declined. And then having the ability to display physical gestures. If one is very sick, one is very old, then there's no physical gestures, no? So who can do all the necessary physical gestures? Who display physical gestures and to speak, see, training disciples with compassion and not being interested in the wealth. If the disciples make offerings, you accept, but not you don't give the ceremony to collect the wealth. You give the bodhicitta for those to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment for those who are interested. Not to collect the wealth, accumulation of wealth, you see. The lamp for the path to enlightenment says, one should receive the vow from a noble spiritual master with a proper qualification, who has proper qualification. What are the qualifications? Having skill in performing the ceremony, having maintained the vow, kept the vow, and having patience, see, who has always maintained the compassion, see, you know, patience and compassion to perform the ceremony. Such a one should be known as a qualified spiritual master. The Bodhisattva Bhumi also says, this first one is said by Atisha, this is by Asanga, yes. Having generated this aspiration of a bodhisattva, means have cultivated bodhicitta. One must be harmonious with the Dharma, means who kept all the disciplines, conduct. No, Dharma is peace here, wisdom, so doesn't contradict with that. No. Having taken the vow, see, have skill, hold the ability to reveal the meaning through the speech, who can express the meaning of what bodhicitta is about, how to cultivate, how to practice, so forth. And have the ability to make others understand the meaning. So these are the qualification of the spiritual master, especially in relation with the Mahayana Bodhicitta. Now, this is what's called the spiritual masters. Even if this kind of spiritual masters were very close to us, but going there presented a danger to one's life or moral ethics, then that situation would be called the Lama, or the spiritual does not exist. Now to go to that place, there's like a war is going through, or some dangerous things going through, then you cannot go. It's risk your lives. So that's called the spiritual master does not exist. No? So see how great skill they are. It's presented here, you see. Therefore, one can receive the aspiration or action bodhicitta vow by reciting the liturgy for either aspiration or action bodhicitta 3 times from the bottom of one's heart. See, this is very important. You really want to cultivate bodhicitta. As mentioned, feeling of urgency. I must do this. There's no alternative. There's no other choice. No? It's a feeling of that. This comes from the bottom of your heart. That nobody can force, you see. So we individually have to study, practice, contemplate, see how things empirically reason, no? There's from hearts, in front of the image of the that's gone one, in front of the Buddha, who is perfected bodhicitta. The Bodhisattva Bhumi says, in case there's no person, spiritual master, with these qualities, the Bodhisattva should properly take the precept related to the moral ethics of Bodhisattva. So bodhicitta is the Bodhisattva's moral ethic. By himself or her in front of an image of thus gone one. If one can find it neither a spiritual master nor an image like a statue or thanga painting like those, then one should clearly visualize the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in space in front of oneself and recite the aspiration or action bodhicitta ceremony 3 times and receive it that way. So there's nothing lacking. So this is, if one has will, there's a means, there's a way to do anything. Thus the collection of transcendent instruction says, if this kind of spiritual master is not present, so clearly visualize the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and take the vow by your own power, your own interest, by chanting these prayers, cultivating it. So this is called the spiritual. So from whom you are receiving the bodhicitta, it's described step by step like that. Now, it's clear? Make a short break